So, decided to put together this quick little video because it's easier than writing it, and it's on the topic of net neutrality, which, by God, I can't wait until tomorrow when this vote from the FCC finally comes and we can stop being whipped into hysteria by the liberal left and the courted right. The right has been courted into this because the words net neutrality sound so good. I've previously spoken on this, and I've explained with great detail the technical components to it and how it works, and I've even made the freaking logical case, guys. I've made the logical case that, hey, we had a perfectly fine internet from 1994 all the way up to 2014, and even into 2015 before the FCC began regulating the internet under Title II of net neutrality. That alone should be enough, but no, there's still hysteria going on. When I log into my freaking Patreon account, there's this giant thing, oh, you gotta tell Congress. Okay, look, I'm gonna make this very, very clear to you guys about the actual problem here in the first place. If there's ever a need for net neutrality, that would be the FCC having a power that it did not previously have. Okay? You got it? A power they did not previously have. Very simple to understand. They did not have this power in 2014. With executive action by President Obama and voting within their own organization, they gave themselves a power they did not previously have. Got that? Are you clear about that? Are you really clear about what that means? Okay. Here's a little lesson in how the republic's supposed to work. We're supposed to have three freaking branches of government. Three. Not one, three. Legislative, executive, and judicial. The legislature passes laws. Laws are what gives the state new powers. Okay? If they don't have a power to get a new power that they don't previously have, that in our republic, by our Constitution, must come from legislators, not from executives. In this case, the executives wanted a power they didn't have, so they gave it to themselves. That's not how this is supposed to work. That's not how any of this is supposed to freaking work. And if you think it is, you don't understand a republic that we live in. Let me break it down with an analogy so that maybe you can understand it. Let's imagine that you live out in a county and there's a lot of dogs running around in the county that aren't well maintained by their owners. And your county sheriff looks at this problem and he decides, you know what? This is because there's all these people that have 15, 20 dogs running around on their property. So what we need is we need a law that says there's only going to be 3 dogs per property, 3 dogs per household. And he goes to the county board of directors or whatever legislative process exists in your county and says, I propose this law. He even gets people together that sign petitions and say, we propose this law. But the elected officials in the legislature say, we don't need this law. This is not a law that we're supposed to have. There can be other laws used to enforce this problem, like there's already a law that says you can't let your dog run loose. So go enforce the laws that exist, and we're not doing this. Now, whether you think that law should exist or not, it doesn't. Now, how would you feel if you lived in that county and your county sheriff said, I am going to put together a group of deputies and we're going to vote and I'm going to sign as an executive authority and say from now on in our county, you are limited to 3 dogs per household, and then we are going to go out and enforce the law that we created. Would you be okay with that? If you're not retarded, you're not okay with that. Okay, when the executive branch of our federal government gives itself a power, it's the same thing. Now again, from 1994, when we first started getting discs in the mail that you stuck in a computer and it went, you've got mail. All the way up to 2014, this didn't exist. There was some behind the scenes, arguing, wrangling. The companies worked it out, but your internet worked just fine. All of the horrors that are foretold, it'll be the Nazi internet and they'll shut you down and they'll shut down my site. Never effing happened. But now it's going to happen. That in itself is an illogical, stupid argument because it doesn't match reality. However, if it ever does begin to go in that direction, how quick do you think it will be that popular support compels legislature to act to constitutionally grant this power? If we're going to have the state granted a new power in a republic, it either comes from the legislature or it is not a legitimate power. I don't know. I would prefer that we got rid of the state altogether, but if we're going to have a state, it should at least follow its own rule book and employee handbook. And in this republic, that would be the Constitution of the United States of America. There you go.